KIIVE XTRESSOR is, surprise surprise, an emulation of the modern studio compressor classic, the Distressor. First off, I want to make a compliment on the looks of this plugin. It looks really great. I'm not necessarily a fan of having an exact copy of the hardware in an emulation. How you interact is different of course, but the XTRESSOR looks great and handles like a charm. Distressors are very versatile compressors and can work on basically any audio source. What makes them special is their sidechain filters and the ability to add second or third order harmonics. The Brit mode, which emulates the buttons all-in mode of a Uray 1176 compressor, and a set and forget opto mode. The XTRESSOR is even more special because here you find a second harmonic saturation control and a warmth dial, which emulates tape saturation to reduce harshness. Distressors are sometimes described as being a bit harsh on vocals, so this is a good addition. You find separate mix controls for saturation and compression. This section is ideal to dial in an extreme compression and saturation setting, and blend them in with the original audio. Also, getting a great knock out of a kick drum is easy. Let me adjust output volume. You just saw I adjusted volumes with the controls on top. This is because each of the channels feed into the saturation section, and when you change output volume on the channel, saturation changes. So input and output are outside of the plugin, so to say. So everything you set with the controls of the channels will affect sound and compression. To illustrate that a bit more, here's a bass guitar. If I increase output volume on the channel, I will drive into the second harmonics a lot more, which results in some serious overdrive. If you pay attention to the level on the channel, you'll see that this doesn't clip. This means you can use this as a sort of clipping or limiting method as well. As soon as you insert the plugin, it will have a sonic imprint, which is a form of saturation or distortion, as you can see. This is very dependent of the input volume either here or here. The saturation section has a big impact on that, but also when turned off you still have added harmonics. Enabling oversampling with the saturation section on will actually increase the noise floor, but I doubt if you will hear that on an individual track. With the saturation section off, you will see that the oversampling nicely cleans up any aliasing. I didn't have much time playing around with the XTRESSOR, but fortunately I got help from my mate Freek, who was kind enough to run true audio samples through his hardware Distressor, so we get an idea how the hardware compares with the plugin. The saturation section is disabled to keep it as close as possible. Also, I made sure the levels of both tracks are as close together as I can get them. Here are drums. Let's start with a ratio of 2:1. Here's a ratio of 4:1. The nuke mode. Here's British mode. You hear that the Xtressor is more hands-on here than the Distressor with these settings. Let me lower the input volume a bit. It's way more close now. Let's continue with some vocals. Ratio of 2:1 first.
With your eyes, I believe how much you fantasize about this. Follow me with your eyes.
You hear a difference with the consonants, so the T's and S's. On the Xtressor they are more present, while the Distressor smoothens more. Let's change up attack settings to 0, release to 2 and ratio to 3:1.
Follow me with your eyes, I believe how much you fantasize about this. Follow me.
And let's change up the settings once more.
I believe how much you fantasize about this.
I would say that the real hardware Distressor grabs the audio a bit better and at the same time is a tad more open, has a fraction more low end and high end. But it really is minimal, and with different settings you get different results, obviously. Now take this comparison with a little bit grain of salt, since there could have been slight differences in the input volume, sound of converters and small differences in attack and release settings between this hardware unit and the plugin. Needless to say, I'm impressed with the Xtressor. It will be a staple compressor for me. KIIVE has created a few very sweet plugins by now. One of the absolute highlights is the free Warmy Pultec EQ. Find that and more KIIVE plugins in the video which is displayed on screen and linked in the description below.